Okay, Tara, you are now live.
Yay. So today I have the opportunity which feels like a real privilege, to have a conversation with Ayse Joe and Joe from Family-Based Solutions. So I'm Tara Gretton and I'm a solution-focused practitioner in Bath. So before we start, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how we came to meet. And we actually haven't met in person yet, but I feel like you're just both of you, a huge welcome part of my life. And we met for the first time in April when you came and joined me on the Solution Focused Trainers course that I was delivering. And you were the first of my guinea pigs when we actually decided to put the course online and to do it via Zoom. So yeah, April, I was thinking about this as I was preparing for today, and I feel like it's like been a whirlwind romance. It's just from the outset that it was kind of love at first sight, and it's just such a joy and privilege to have you both doing the course with me. And I have to say that I was quite nervous because you're experienced solution focused practitioners, and I was nervous about delivering the training to you.
Really?
Yes, but you made it so much easier and such a wonderful experience. So much so that you supported the other students on the course outside of our training days and have continued to do so. So I, just wanted to say that I'm really, really pleased that you came into my life in April and into the Solution Focused Trainers family and also the Solution Focused community. I'm sure I can speak for them if they don't mind in saying that you have definitely brought life and joy and energy, particularly during this lockdown time since April. So anything that you wanted to add to that in how we first met and how you came to do the Solution Focused Trainers course?
Yeah, I think like you said, Tara, we were meant to come to Bath. I think that was, and it was meant to be in the group. And when we found out it was going to be online, I was saying to Ayse, I don't know if I want to do it because it's not going to be the same. And it's just what's the point? But we decided against it, which I'm really glad that we did, because otherwise we wouldn't have met you and the rest of the team and the rest of the people on the course. And I think it reignited a fire that we already had, but it just fanned the flames a bit, because there was a lot of research and reading. The amount of reading you've got me doing, and that's been a real pleasure. And obviously getting the marks back has been a bit of a competition.
Yes, I know.
So I need, because I'm not one for writing essays really. It's not it's not something that I'm generally comfortable with. So I needed Ayse to push me in that direction. But I'm really glad I did, because I wouldn't have done the research and I wouldn't have got like I say, that reignition of passion. We're really grateful to you and your team. It's been brilliant.
I've got to say, Tara, I was at one point walking around following him with the laptop. You need to write an essay. You need to write your essay. It's on the calendar. That means you need to do it.
If it's on the calendar, it's gospel. It's got to be done. So
yeah. But it was an amazing experience more than anything, and it was amazing to meet all you you and see Naomi and see John Wheeler and to meet new people. It was I quite enjoyed it. I really did. I didn't like the essays, but I did enjoy everything else. But like Joe said, through the essays you learn a lot about yourself. and looking at the history of solution focus was phenomenal for me, because I was the one saying, what's the point? But actually it's made me a much better practitioner because of it.
Yeah,
So,
and I've
yeah,
really enjoyed reading your essays. Yeah.
We got 10 out of 10, just say, and we fight for
They
the
got 10 out of
stars.
10. Yes.
I keep fighting, Joe and I keep fighting for the stars.
I will send you more stars, I promise.
Thank you.
So, family-based solutions in Enfield. So, started in 2000, founded in 2011 by yourselves and one other. And this is a service that provides support using the solution-focused approach to families where parents are experiencing abuse within the families. So what I'm really, really interested and excited to find out more about is how not only that was founded, but I'm really interested to hear about how you met and your journey together towards finding the solution-focused approach and founding family-based solutions.
Okay. Who's going to start?
Do you want to go and I jump in like we always do?
I was working in a local secondary school, so I was a learning mentor. So really my role was to work with identified students that may be on the verge of exclusion and so on. So that was my role. Then Ayse joined as a parent support advisor. So often I might be working with a child and Ayse might be working with a parent. So we would often have conversations about, the families. And I think the first time we met was in, God, it sounds awful now, but there was a smoking room at school.
Wow.
In the caretaker's place.
What year was this?
Oh, God, 2004, was it? 2000,
Yeah.
something like that. It was, and it was in the caretaker's office, and his office actually opened onto the main corridor. So as soon as you came out, all this smoke fell over that.
Yeah.
All the kids were saying, "Oh, what we've been in there smoking." So that's kind of where we kind of used to meet and have a conversation there. And then Ayse will better explaining of how we came about and how we first heard of child-to-parent abuse, because it wasn't something back then that was recognised, very under-researched. So yeah, it came as a bit of a shock to us as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we just naturally started having conversations in that room and other rooms, and we felt quite comfortable with each other as colleagues, as well as Karen, who was with us at the time. And then one day I came across, I was having a meeting with a parent where I noticed that she had lots of bruises. So I kind of explored that and then quickly realised that it wasn't actually her husband, or her partner, it was her son. What do you do with that? So we did the natural thing. We're both safeguarding officers at the school, and made a referral to social care, followed up with a phone call, and they said, well, what do you want us to do about it? Is the child safe? Well, yeah. Well, what do you want us to do about it? So I met with the mum again and said, look, I've made calls to youth offending services, to the police, to social care. I can't come up with anything. So I'm just going to do a safety plan with you and see where we go with that. But I want you to memorise it and not take any paperwork home. So we did that. And then she called me. And at this time, that Joe and I are having conversations with her son, who, by the way, was absolutely lovely. A really, really lovely boy. He had very limited English. Witnessed a lot of domestic abuse. His dad was an alcoholic and an abuser, no longer in the family, thank God. But, he's having to live with all of this, and he's now in a new country with his mum not understanding what it's like to have that transition and go to a school where you can't really speak English very well. So she called me one day, and I could hear her screaming, and I could hear him throwing things. So me being a plonker as I am, just ran towards the house because they only lived about 3 minutes down the road. You don't put yourself first, do you? You put them first. I called the police en route, and back then the police were absolutely terrible. Now they're much better, but terrible. They came down in a riot van. All these police officers just jumped out. They all just jumped out. So I'm trying to explain, because she can't speak English, I'm trying to explain what's happening, and this is an ongoing issue, and blah, 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 blah. And they literally looked at the mum and told her that she was a really, really bad parent and that she needs to start parenting him. Looked at the boy and said, you need to stop hitting your mum, son, and just got back in the riot van and left. So you can only imagine what happened after I left. So Joe and I kind of started conducting these home visits because he was a school refuser. And he, like I said, he was a lovely, lovely boy, very, very, very respectful to us. And then a little while longer, I mean, it was still continuing, obviously. We didn't know what we were doing. We were outside having a conversation under the tree, and I had a little thought about it a couple of nights before, and I proposed, I said, shall we start a charity? Joe's initial reaction was, shut up.
But that's my initial reaction to everything she said.
Yeah. He told me to shut up, and then he did this thing that he does when he's thinking. So what you're saying? And then we started having a conversation, and it was a bit of a joke at first, to be honest, because we don't know what we're doing, so we just carried on having conversations. And then what did we do, Joe?
I think the only thing we knew right from the outset was that it had to be a whole family intervention.
Yeah.
But what I've found, and probably Ayse the same, is when I was mentoring young people in school, I was really only holding them because I knew that there was so much going on at home. It was almost like we're just holding you for the day, but then when you went home, the same thing was going to go over and over again. And so I was really interested in making it a whole family intervention rather than separating the two. Working with a whole family. We knew it had to be a charity because obviously we didn't want to charge families for the service. And that was it, really.
Yeah. So we applied for Awards for All and got £10,000, and we thought that was it, we're done. Loaded. So we'd go to work from 8 until 4:35, and then from 5 p.m. we would see as many families in their homes as we possibly could, and we did that for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was very, very problem focused. You know, I was the queen of writing chore charts.
Yeah, and behaviour contracts. Do you remember those?
Behaviour contracts, yeah. We did all of that.
So things that kind of really stand out for me that you both said was Ayse talking about specifically about the young person, and how you described this young person as being lovely, as being respectful, and also noticing that there was nothing out there for families in this situation, and that you wanted to find a way to support families and provide something that at that time wasn't available. So, and I love that, standing under the tree, and I can just have that vision of the two of you, Ayse, Joe, let's put up a charity. So what inspires you about each other? Thinking back to that time, and what motivated you to do this together and inspires you about each other? What would you say?
I love this question because now he has to say something nice.
I think we were both passionate about supporting the people that we work with. I think that was first and foremost. It wasn't just a 9-to-5 job. It was more than that. It meant more than that. Also, that we put the hours in. It wasn't a matter of, it's 5 o'clock and it's time to switch off and we're going home. I think the biggest thing is that we are always looking at how can we be better than we are. How can we make things? And we're the first to put our hands up and say that was terrible. We need to change this. This isn't working, or that isn't working. And it's not a case of being precious and saying, well, it's the client's fault that they're not making changes. It's something that we need to look at. And back then we weren't solution focused at all. It wasn't. Even though what I was doing with mentees was pretty much in that vein, it wasn't something that we practiced really with the families, and it was hard work at the beginning because, like I said, you're working full time, going out in the evenings, hearing all the problems, feeling even more drained. But it was something, I guess, if the drive wasn't there, we could have just stopped after that first year because it was just too much. Ayse wasn't seeing her kids.
Yes.
Her child then there was that one, but she was very young.
So working full time, working evenings, and working to do what was right and better for the families that you were working with. And Joe, as you described, that real passion to work with the whole family and not just the individual child.
I think for me, the reason why I spoke to Joe under the tree is I love, and I still love Joe's passion and his honesty. I still love that. I might cuss him for it, but I still love it. But when he was talking with the kids, he was talking to them as an older brother and a father and whatever they needed him to be at that time. And it wasn't a 9-to-5 job, as he said. It really was. You either give it your all or you just don't do anything. And once Joe puts his mind to something, he will give it his all.
Yes.
And that's the reason why I spoke with Joe that day, because I knew that going forward, if it's going to work with anyone, it's going to work with him.
So really noticing that passion, and that's something that I have to say about in the time that I've known you, both of you, the passion that you have for the work that you do and your eagerness to learn more about the solution focused approach. It's palpable, there's so much of that passion, and I have a huge amount of respect for both of you for that passion that you have. So anything else that you want to say about each other that inspired you to work with each other and continues to inspire you to work with each other?
I think Joe and I have a very, Joe would say we're colleagues, right? We've been having this argument, haven't we, Joe? But Joe and I have a like a brotherly, sisterly relationship, and we both understand and respect each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've managed to be, why we've still got the charity, because, don't give me numbers. Do not come to me with numbers. Anything else, but don't come to me with numbers. And that's one of Joe's strengths. And Joe's delivery is so much better than mine, I think. Whereas I'm more the background person. And I think we kind of identified that very, very early on and respected that. And because we both kind of think outside, we don't even have a box, I don't think. I don't think we even have a box to think outside of. It's just the world is our oyster. And if we see both of us, I mean, just the other day, we read something on the internet, went, right, we've got to do something about this. Joe comes up with those ideas and I'm the one that emails and makes it happen. Well, that's how it works.
Tara, I think you'll let her get on with it. Go on, get on with it.
But that is really how it works. I think we're very lucky that both our immediate families are also very, very understanding. There's been lots of times that I've been at Joe's house until 10, 11 o'clock at night writing bids. His poor wife, cooking dinner for us and everything. Joe's been at my house. He didn't get to see. I didn't get to see my older daughter growing up for a few years. She was raised by my mum and my husband. So we both gave up a lot, but we gave it up for the greater good of our community and for everyone else, I think. And I think our families definitely do understand that.
Yes, I love that.
Mutual respect, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yeah, so understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses and having that mutual respect. And I love that, you know, working for the greater good of your community. And obviously there's also others in your team. There's quite a large team of people that work with you as well. So you can talk about a little bit more in a minute about the different projects that you run and the different roles that you have within family-based solutions. But first, I kind of need to ask you about what inspires you about the solution-focused approach, and how did you discover it?
So initially, going back to the beginning, like we said, it was very problem-focused. Behaviour charts, chore charts. Don't you stop doing that? That's not very nice, and that kind of attitude, which got us, which didn't really get us very far. But back then, just to go back, we were known as PARS, so we Parent Abuse and Reconciliation Service, which is not only a mouthful but a very negative kind of name as well. So we were invited to do conferences on the work that we do, and especially because it was still very under-researched and underknown. Someone just said at one of the lunch, when they went for a break and they came up to us and said, "Have you heard of the solution-focused approach?" I said, "No, I haven't heard of that." So we did what you do. You come back, have a bit of a research. What's it all about? That sounds really good. Love the idea of collaboration. Love the idea of not having to rake over all those old emotions and traumatic events, and moving forward, because that's what we want. We don't want families to. We want families to be empowered to move forward. We don't want. We don't get any joy from keeping families longer than they need to. But we're also open to it takes however long it takes. So we got in touch with Brief, Harvey, Chris, and Evan, and Harvey came down to our office and trained us in 2 days. I think it was all we could afford then, Tara. That's all we had in the budget, I think. And Harvey came to the office, and I fell in love with it straight away. And there was a lot of doubt about, is this going to work? But it just, it's that old cliche, and it sat right with me, but it literally did. Because I think that element of having a more fulfilling, hopeful future is what was so attractive. So we did the 2 days training. And then as you do when you first start a new approach, you kind of dip in and out of it. It wasn't really 100%. I was committed, but I wasn't 100% confident in myself to do it all the way through. And when I did my first family and the solution focused way, what are your best hopes? The miracle question, scaling. It was such an eye opener, and a lot of the practitioners we've spoken to and interviewed said they can't go back to the old ways once they start.
Yeah. So what did you notice in that particular session that was different?
Just how the families left feeling hopeful, and there was smiles, and they felt lifted, and they could remember times when they had the relationship that they want, and then it wasn't all doom and gloom. Once they began to realise that, it gave them hope that maybe they could do that moving forward. I don't know about Ayse's first flavour of it. I don't think it was as.
You know that.
It wasn't as. Yeah.
I hated it.
You hated it.
I absolutely hated it. I walked out thinking, we've just spent all this money on nothing.
Wow.
What a waste. Apologise to the volunteers. Absolutely hated it. And it's not until I walked in on Joe on that session and sat next to him and listened to it, I thought, wow, this actually works. And then Joe had booked on a training session, I think it was with Elliot. And I went along and I thought, it's a waste of money again. Did my usual moaning. And then the penny dropped.
Yeah.
The penny just dropped. I was like, oh, I get it. I actually get it now. Right. Okay. What next? What we're doing now? Where we're taking this? And then it just somehow just seemed to just
Yeah. So what was it? What was it that helped?
I think because my character is a lot more animated. And Harvey, bless him, is so gorgeous, and I love him, and I love all the brief team. It was a bit more like I was listening to my school teacher. And I think I just wasn't listening very well. And I think, their work is incredible. And, the brief team have been amazing for our family-based solutions. But I think Elliot was more my style. So when Elliot started talking, I was like, yes, I get it. Right. Okay. And then I started listening properly. And then I was hooked. And Joe had grasped it a lot quicker and better than I had. So then I started shadowing Joe a lot. And listening to Joe, and obviously he was still practicing, but it was lovely to have those debriefs, and have those discussions of what worked really well and what we should be doing more of since then.
So what did you notice that was working really well when you were observing Joe?
The first thing I noticed is that 80% of the time they were all smiling. And that was very unusual for us to see.
Wow.
It was very unusual, and that the client was doing most of the talking.
Wow.
And it just seemed effortless. And I know, I know there's a lot of effort in solution folk, but when, just listening and then figuring out what you're going to do. Whereas we always had our own agenda. And we, in a sense, had our own best hope for them. And if it didn't fit, then obviously there's something wrong with the client. Why don't you want the same thing as I want?
That's the biggest leap of faith, I guess. Trusting that the client knows what's. Because I've sat in a lot of meetings where I think, I really want you to do. I really think this would be good, but you kind of just have to, hold that in and just let that go, and then just trust in the client.
Wow.
I mean, the first thing I noticed, though, Tara, with both mine and Joe's clients was it was a conversation. And it was a collaborative conversation, and we were smiling, and we'd leave hugging, thanking each other. And that's just addictive.
Yeah. Yes,
it's very
absolutely. It's very addictive. Yeah. So a collaborative conversation where when you're working with families in such complex situations that they actually leave smiling. So I'm really interested to hear about some more examples of that. The families that come into the service and the situations that they come with and the difference that SF makes to them.
Well, the first... Sorry, go on, Joe.
No, go on.
No, go on.
After you.
Age before beauty, Joe, go on.
No, I think one of the other reasons that Solution Focus resonated with us is because of when you saw the referral forms from the families that were referred into you, you'd almost think there's no way that this can improve. It's just there's one horror after another. It's families where there's been several agencies and sometimes all at the same time, and you think this is crazy. I don't know what sort of difference we're going to make, but once families come in and know that it's actually a collaboration, because they're often not used to being asked what they want, what outcome would be useful for you. And that old saying that the solution is not always part of the problem, or you don't need to know the problem to affect a solution. That came up a lot because parents weren't asking a lot of the times for the violence to end. They were asking for understanding their child a bit better, or being able to support their child, and just having a happy family, so that's what we'd work on. Children found the approach really helpful for them because they weren't being blamed. They weren't being blamed, but they were seen as part of the solution. So the families, often it's physical, so people, young people smashing up their home if they're not getting what they want. It could be financial abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of families where children have brought up or have lived in homes where domestic abuse was just part of normal everyday life.
Mm.
So we never looked at families as being, we never looked at parents as being the problem or children as being the problem. We just need to find a solution to this.
And what do you notice as you ask those questions around what their hopes are? What do you notice about how they interact with each other?
I think they're taken aback at first.
Yeah.
If it's their first session, it's a bit like, well, I don't know. But what we've started to do in the last 6 or 7 months is actually meet with the parents first.
Okay.
Because the parents are more resistant to, or they don't understand the solution focused approach. They want to come in and talk to us about the problems and we need to fix it. So we have a conversation with the person, kind of explain the process in a nutshell. And then, I personally would always say, in our first meeting, when your child is present, I will ask what you appreciate about your child. So between now and then, I want you to really, really look out for it, just to get them thinking along those lines. But when you first ask them as a family, what are your best hopes, they are a bit taken back. And then it's usually anything along the lines of communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
The children are a bit more, I don't want to talk. So it's easy. I'm still going to ask you these really silly questions and you don't have to talk out loud. Just think of it. I don't even need to know the answer. And then I'll purposefully say something wrong and then they'll be like, no. They'll pipe up and you've got them. And because they kind of expect you to sit down and talk to them about what they're doing. That's not nice. You should be doing this. Why aren't you going to school? What do you mean you're not going to school? You have to go to school. None of that is ever discussed.
And what difference do you think that makes to young people?
They're being listened to. They're being listened to, and we're building them up to find their own solutions, because we're not always going to be there. You're not always going to be there. Teachers aren't always going to be there, and they're always going to be presented with an issue. So for them to realise they actually have choices that they can come up with themselves is really, really empowering.
Yes.
So we always emphasise, look for the outcome you want and look at the choices you have to get there. What does it look like and what difference would that make? And they find it really empowering and quite addictive themselves, really.
The opening question, I mean, it's almost with every family I meet, it's almost a different question every time. I don't know what goes through my head. When you're sitting with someone and you think, I don't know if this question's going to actually make any sense. I don't know if that's instinct or what it is. But if I say, so what are your best days from our working together? And you go, don't know what you're talking about. So what needs to happen so you don't have to come back here and listen to me yapping on it? What do you think? Or if you look back in this in 6 months' time and you think, that guy we went to see, it wasn't that bad. It actually turned out okay. What would you need to see? It seems to change with every time. But they get that it's a collaboration. They get that the children have some agency, even if it's my math teacher's useless, the class don't listen to him, I'm not learning. But tomorrow you're still going to have the same math teacher and the same class. What are you going to do to make sure that you're successful? There are things that you can do, even in some desperate sort of situations. It's almost changing the mindset, a lot of it.
Yes,
follow-up questions are going to be, what's been better?
So I love that, giving children agency, so empowering. So tell me a little bit more about the many things that you offer. So what does it look like at Family-Based Solutions? Obviously, this period of time has been different because we've been in lockdown, but what's a day in the life like?
We don't even know anymore.
We don't know anymore.
So the basic services we offer are child to parent abuse for children aged between 5 and 18. So anyone can self-refer, or any agency can refer a family onto us. Then we've got the Domestic Abuse Recovering Together DART program, which is an NSBCC initiative. So for any parent that is no longer in an abusive relationship physically there, they might mentally still be affecting them, but physically not there. then I will work with those parents, male or female, to support them in the recovery and understand the effects it has on the children, and moving forward what that looks like. So it's very much SF mixed in with DART. Then we've got our schools program. So it's called Building on Strengths and Solutions. So we go into schools and we deliver solution focused programs to group work or parents or whatever the school wants us to do, really.
So that can be for any issue. That's
any issue.
Yeah.
It could be children in care, it could be children with anxiety, school refusers, children that have friendship issues, whatever it might be. We've got a new project coming up. Are we allowed to talk about it, Joe?
Are you allowed to say?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone can hear us. It's only Tara. So we obviously a lot of the children that we work with have been impacted by the absent parent, mainly the parent that's been a perpetrator. Not a great word, but say it in a nutshell. So we've done a little bit of research, read quite a few SF solution focused books, and contacted Coventry University. So they're writing a exclusive family-based solutions program for perpetrators aged from 18 and above, male and female. Will be offered via Zoom, face-to-face, whatever it might look like. But we'll be calling them participants because everyone has a story, and everyone, regardless of why they're in front of us, we'll be looking for the strengths and helping them move forward to their preferred future and ultimately be better parents to their children.
Yes. Wow.
So that will hopefully be starting in September.
So
January.
So what will that look like? How will you deliver that?
So it'll be 2 practitioners, either in the office or via Zoom, so anyone can access it from all over the world. It's not just strictly for Enfield, Harringay and Barnet. And it will be a 10-week program. We'll have a meeting beforehand, kind of, how are you doing? This is what it will look like. It'll be a 10-week program. After the 10 weeks of solution-focused 10-week program, then we'll have an opportunity to have family meetings. So if they're going to go back home to their partner, or if they want joint work with their children, whatever that might look like for them, because it's not just about going and completing a program. What does that look like once they finish? So it's about having those family meetings afterwards to say, actually, he's completed this. Now, moving forward as a family, what is it going to look like? What does that co-parenting look like, whether you're together or not?
Wow.
In mutually, respectfully parenting these children so they grow up to be healthy individuals. Ultimately, it's preventing that cycle from repeating itself. We don't want any more victims and we don't want any more perpetrators being born from these relationships. So it's a preventative measure as well as kind of dealing with the presenting issue, really.
Yeah.
I think offering it remotely is probably a first. I think what we were looking at is that normally in a perpetrator program, the dropout rate is horrendous. So they seem to start and then they just drop out, or the reoffending rates are quite high. So we wanted something different, something where actually you haven't really got an excuse not to attend because we'll just do it remotely. And if you're having issues around getting a job or not being financially stable, then that support can be put in place. If like Ayse says, you want a co-parent or you have this idea of getting back together, what needs to happen? How will your children know that it's safe? What would there be for them? So it is about a whole sort of package, if you like. You can do 8 weeks and disappear, and then it falls in on itself.
Yeah. So real emphasis on those originating values that you have about working with the whole family, and inviting them to be able to co-parent and that they can access it. And I think that's such a useful thing that's come out of this period of time, hasn't it? That being able to use Zoom and anybody can access it at any time if they have the means, the Wi-Fi. Yeah. So is there anything out there like this that's, using SF in this way? perpetrators?
I don't want to say no for definite, but not as far as we're aware. Definitely not via Zoom, so not the virtual learning. So I think this will be, especially in our area, this is definitely going to be a first. And it's quite exciting because anyone can join.
Yeah.
It's open to both male and female participants. So it's not exclusive to men, because I think that's really important. And they will have an option of either coming to the office and also it eliminates the issues of if someone does have a disability, physical disability, or even a mental disability, health issue where they feel that they can't leave the home. It doesn't discriminate. And the family work afterwards will be a first.
Doing that training with you via Zoom, it's kind of, I think that was my opener as well, to have those breakout spaces where they can do smaller group work and then bring everyone back and have that kind of. So that was really useful. And you're right, during lockdown we've all had to use this way of working, but actually video recording our sessions has been a massive item. It's been huge. Looking at, what the hell are you doing? Why did you ask that?
Yeah, and we've talked about that, haven't we? You know, this sort of sudden opportunity to video our sessions and start to really observe our practice. And you were saying that this is something that you've been doing since lockdown. So what are you learning and what are you noticing within your work that you're doing well, and what you want to do differently?
I've noticed that I nod a lot. That's the first thing I've noticed. I never realised I actually did that so much. I think what I've noticed about myself is that I'm more patient. Everyone that knows me knows that I'm quite, but I've actually had to slow down because it's via Zoom. And that's really, really benefited the families because I can see a difference and we're moving forward a lot quicker. Just by allowing that time, because usually if I ask, you know, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 or whatever the question may be, and they think about it for a couple of minutes, they'll be like, well, just think about it, maybe, and I'll jump in, because I find silence very uncomfortable, and that's my own issue, which was obviously transpiring to everybody else. But since using Zoom, I have been so much more patient, because I'm actually listening to their body language. I'm looking at them with intent of actually allow them a bit more time. Wow. And I broke a record for me. I waited 6 minutes. I timed it. It was 6 minutes. And I sent it to Joe straight away. I said, there you go, proof I can be patient.
Yeah.
I did it. And you know what? She really benefited from it, because this is a parent that really felt that she didn't have a voice. And looking at the services working with her, she didn't. Really, she didn't. And I didn't want to be one of them. I allowed her that time. So I think my practice has improved. Wow. Just watching those videos and analysing, actually, when I do give a bit of time, this is the difference I see.
Yes, I always talk about sort of pace and space within a solution-focused conversation. You know, the pace, obviously every conversation is unique, but the pace and the space that you give, allowing time for people to think and for you to formulate, and I think, yes, to have the opportunity to watch yourself back is really interesting. Yeah. So Ayse, what difference is that made to the people that you're working with?
I think, again, it comes down to listening. I think they really do value the fact that I am more patient. And if one parent in particular is watching this today, then I'm sorry I wasn't so patient with you. She knows who she is. But it worked, it worked. It's not that it didn't work, but it's just actually you can see a difference. And that particular parent that I was saying I waited 6 minutes, when I spoke to her last week, said, you do listen to me. I think, God, if you saw the old me, you probably wouldn't say that. Let's be honest here.
I've noticed I smile a lot in the sessions, and I don't know if that makes a difference to the client, but I did, because obviously you can't see yourself when you're with a client, but I do smile a lot. which I think is really good. I do lean forward a lot, even though I can hear. Almost
Yeah,
like,
me too.
yeah, what am I doing? I'm leaning forward, but I can still hear them. You know, you find yourself doing the same thing.
Yes.
And the way you phrase questions, you can really sort of break it down and think, maybe I should have changed that word or this word. But then I guess with anything, you don't know the difference it's made until you meet them next time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have a terrible session and they come back and it's been brilliant. Sometimes you think you've had the most fantastic session and it's all gone pear-shaped. But I've noticed that. And like Ayse says, everyone takes turns in talking. You don't often get everyone talking over each other. So it seems to have helped in taking turns, which is great because everyone wants to feel they've been heard. But yeah, I do smile a lot, and I've noticed in one particular case that I wanted something for them that they didn't want for themselves.
Wow. Yeah.
And that was I had to sit back and think, what are you doing? This isn't about your hopes. Even though you know when you get that feeling where you think, oh, if you two could only do this, you'd be brilliant together. But it's not up to you to make that choice.
No. So how do you manage that in your head?
I had to change tack, I guess, and look at the difference it would make to the children, and what they felt would be best for the children involved, rather than them staying together as a couple.
You so wanted them to stay together.
Oh,
it's so cute.
But yeah, I noticed that. I noticed I have to really listen to what the clients say, even though I heard what they were saying.
Yes.
You know,
and it just highlights that that there are times when you have these feelings, and how we have to, inviting ourselves to take a step back and to deliberate in the questions that we ask, based on what we're really truly listening to.
Because I guess and our approach, even though it's very client-centered, we are still listening. We ask questions, but we are listening for a certain response. There are bits of that conversation that we completely leave out. So even though it's very client-centered and we always listen to what the client wants, we can be selective in what we hear.
And that's our formulations, isn't it? Where we're selecting what's useful in order to form, our questions.
But we also we have parent support groups. They have mutual WhatsApp groups where they support each other. Practical support. So it's
training.
The beauty of being a charity is, as long as you meet your outcomes to satisfy the people that award you the grant, the way you do it is entirely up to you. And over the years, when we've seen a need when we've seen a common thread and a need for something, we can just get up and do it. We don't have to go through all the red tape. And I'll pass it through this person, and I'll have to pass it through that person, and the council might not like it. We're able to do what our families tell us would be helpful.
Wow, I love that. And I know from talking to both of you, you're really passionate about, everything that you do. You're particularly passionate at the moment about work in schools. So would you, in this moment, having the opportunity, what would you want to say to schools, to educators, about what you can offer and what difference that could make to schools and staff and students?
I think that there is another way. It doesn't just have to be carrot and stick. There are ways that we can work collaboratively with young people to get the best out of them. And there's conversations that can be had that don't have to be long. It can be a brief chat in the hallway that can make all the difference. And, you know, give it a chance. What have you got to lose? That there isn't anything to lose. It either works for you or it doesn't, because we were institutionalized when we were in schools. There was a certain way of doing things, but there are other ways of doing it, and we want to be able to have a solution focused school in this borough, just to say, you know what, has it made a difference? Let's see what this is doing compared to everybody else. And that it's such a versatile way of having a conversation, because whatever a person brings is their best hopes.
Also, it alleviates stress from non-teaching and teaching staff. You know, when you've got the same kid that's in detention every single day, over and over again, obviously what the school has in place is not working, otherwise they would not be doing it.
Yeah, so
it's about looking at doing something different.
Yeah, so what would the school look like? What would it see that would tell it that it's different and that it's working?
Oh, lots of happy people, lots of conversations, lots of nice conversations, you know. And when a child walks into your classroom late, rather than, oh, nice of you to join us, and no, what's the point in turning up? Is, are you okay? Are you okay? Is there anything I can help with? Okay, would you mind staying behind after lesson? We'll talk. You know, don't put the kids down. They're late. And they might be late because they were genuinely truanting. But unless we have those conversations about, you know, what would be better and what would be acceptable in a nice collaborative way, that child's not going to stop doing that. In fact, you're stopping them from going to lesson on time. So it's just having those conversations and seeing kids happy to be in class, happy for them to be scaling their own work and taking ownership.
I think as well, my experience when I was at school was, unfortunately, too much of teaching staff time was dealing with talking to someone about their behaviour, and spending a lot of time talking about what they did wrong, what the consequences will be, but we don't spend that much time talking about what they did well.
Yeah,
there's an imbalance in that.
Yeah,
I noticed that when I was in the class, and if we can just shift that, so we're spending just as much time elaborating on what, not just well done, oh, that's a nice, but really breaking it down, well, you know, like you do with the scales. Is, you know, I'd say you was at a 9, and this is why, and this is the difference it's made to me and the rest of the class. That's something that child's going to remember. When you're, you know, you're going to do that, you kind of switch off. So I think even if we change the percentage of those conversations from, you know, 10% problem focused and 90% solution focused, we would see a difference.
And what would we notice that's different about the staff if they're communicating with the students in this way?
I would like to see school staff noticing when the kids are doing something really well, and having those conversations, you know, when they're off on a break, rather than, oh, well, have you noticed that is doing da. More about, have you noticed how far he's come despite all of this? How far he's come, and actually he's coming to school 4 days on time and only 1 day, you know, he came in at 10. Noticing when they're doing really, really well. And one of my biggest bugbears, and you know, school staff, I always say this to school staff: you put your child on a contract, you put a child on a pastoral support plan. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to, or basically, you're kicked out. Well, actually, what does that look like? What is it you're asking them to do? How feasible is it for them to do it? Where can you go for support? None of that's ever taken into consideration. It's parent sign here, child sign here, and then off you go. But actually, if you want that child to behave in class, what does that look like? Where have you noticed that child doing it before so they can do it again in the other classes? Look out for a pattern. And I never forget, when I was using solution focus at the school that I worked in, on and off, you know, this child was on a pastoral support plan. You know, parent was upset, teachers were upset. And I just said, I've noticed that in one of the classes, you never ever get a behavioural point. What's so different about that class and that teacher? They said the teacher listens to me, and if I walk in late, he asks me if I'm okay. Which means I always go in on time because I really do have a lot of respect for that teacher. But the other teachers, and then, you know, just went into that. I thought, wow, so what is it you're doing in that class that you can take to the other classes and maybe influence the teachers so they have this, you know, say the same thing. So we did that work, and the result was brilliant. That doesn't take long. It takes less time to work with a child like that and to notice their strengths than it does talking about their deficits. You're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not doing this.
Yeah, so the difference it makes to the teacher in their experience of being at school and working at school can be empowering them, lighter. Yeah,
it's a lighter way of working. It's much lighter. Looking out in your classroom and what the children as a team are doing well is so much better than noticing the things that aren't going so well. Because the more you notice what's going well, the more likely they're going to do it. More of it.
I think, and sometimes it might be a leap of faith, but for teachers to ask their class, so out of 10, what would you give this lesson? How can I make it more interesting, or, you know, next time? So being open, not for criticism, but just saying, well, Sarah, if you did this or explain this bit a little bit longer, I might have got it. Or, but also the other important factor in this is parents constantly tell me all I hear from the school is when my kid's done wrong. That's all I ever get. Text messages, got detention. I very rarely get the other side of the coin. So even having those meetings with parents, even if they are about discipline, you know, what do we need to talk about in this meeting so it's useful to you, and bring the parent on board, because they will know their child better than the school does. So why are we using that wealth of knowledge and information?
Yes.
Easier for them.
Yes. Yeah. So working collaboratively with the parents, really important. Yes, and telling them what their child's done well in school, what they have done, not always what they haven't. Yeah, so important. Yeah, I love that. Yes. Well, you know how passionately I feel about SF in school.
I know.
So I love all of that.
I know. I think it's amazing.
Yeah. So, as we sort of talked over about the past 3 months since April, you know, you've done the training with solution focused trainers, and I know that, well, I'm not quite sure when you sleep or when you don't work, but because you have a wonderful presence and on social media, and you attend so many webinars and training, and you're so involved, and so and you promote people, and you're just, yeah, it's absolutely wonderful to observe your presence on social media. And so I just kind of want to ask you about this period of time, you know, from the beginning of lockdown and to now. So what have you really noticed and learned that's really inspired you, and all of these global events that you've attended, and all of these amazing people that you've had conversations with, live conversations with? So I'm really interested to what has inspired you and inspired you even more about SF.
I think for me, every single person I have spoken to via email, Twitter, FBS chats, networking, every single person has played a part in my development of using the solution focus approach. It's amazing how much you learn just by listening to people. And you know, I've been very open and honest. You know, I'm selfish. I'm going to take that away and I'm going to use it. Thank you very much. But actually, we've made so many friends during this time, and I feel personally, and I think Joe would agree, I feel so damn lucky to have so many mentors. You know, go to Tara for one thing, John for another, Naomi for another, Elliot for another. You know, it's just unbelievable. Mark, I've only met, you know, Mark Matten is watching now. He's so sweet and he's so encouraging, and I love it. Guy Shannon, and like, there's so many people out there that I didn't even know existed. And last night, for the first time, I joined a solution focused training in Turkish. Wow, that was weird, but it was so cool. Zainab held like a discussion for Turkish speaking practitioners to give them an understanding of what the approach is, and it was just amazing. I was listening to it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I could so develop my language. This time has really given us the space for Joe and I to think about what the charity means moving forward, what it looks like, our staff, how we can support them further, our volunteers, what they look like moving forward, how we can support them, the schools that we're working in, the training that we need. The first few weeks of lockdown, Joe and I were trying not to kill each other.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Honestly, we were just like, then actually, it's like every couple of days we come up with this new idea or new way of doing something. It's, wow, that's brilliant. Let's run with it. So it's really given us that time to kind of look at who our allies are, who our mentors are, and embrace it. Really, really embrace it, and also look at our own practice and laugh at each other.
I mean, that, and I think that's the gift that everyone's had, is that extra time. The time to think about, are we doing, is what we're doing right?
Well,
What else do we need to do? And the solution focused practitioners we've approached, you know, guys that have written books and, you know, have been around for years and met Steve and Insu right from the beginning, and you're talking to them and you think, wow, this would never have happened. This would not have happened if it wasn't for this lockdown situation. Meeting Gil from, you know, he's in Ohio. We have a little, every couple of weeks we have a movie night with him. That's been brilliant.
Yeah, movie night with Gil, Wednesday nights with Linda Metcalf.
Yeah, it's been brilliant, and there's such a giving community. There's no, oh, I don't want to give that away because that's mine. Everyone's been really open and sharing, and the families that we keep in touch with over Zoom, in general, touch wood, have been coping really well, and I think that's been lovely to see, to catch up with them, and see how they're coping with, you know, no school and hard, you know, some school work, hardly any school work, or how they're exercising. So it's been really lovely that even, you know, everyone knows these are unusual times, and it seems to have brought them together.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So what is it that's enabled that to happen, do you think?
I think it is just that kids realise this is strange, and we need to be, you know, one mum was saying, I don't even, when I go to work of a night, and I'm there with my mum, when she tells them to go to bed, there's no more arguing, they just do it. And little things like that, because they know that these are strange times, and my mum's working really hard to support us.
Wow.
And it's changed people's view.
I also think that the existing clients are also used to using the solution focused approach, and it's their outlook on certain details, certain challenges that supported them, really. And that's not the work that Joe and I have done, it's just what they've embraced from that.
Oh, it's really joyful when they tell you the strategies they've put in place themselves, just because they've thought about what's the solution to this, you know. So yeah, we've got some great clients.
I love it. So what from this experience, you know, in terms of what's inspired you and the things that you're doing differently with FBS, what are the things from this experience that, as we come out the other side of it, what will you keep? What are the things that you will really hold on to?
Joe doesn't like. Go on, Joe.
definitely doing more Zoom meetings. I think that's going to help. I think not just for the people that are isolated, but what used to happen was people would come, so that the children would leave school, parents would pick them up, they'd come here for an hour, probably hungry, fed up, don't want to be here. All that travelling won't have to happen so much, because we can do it as long as it's safe. Obviously, once we know the families and they know us and we know it's going to be a safe meeting, there's no reason for them to have to travel. I mean, it'd still be lovely to see them, but it wouldn't have to be every week. The communities that we've joined, the training that you can do online now. So, because the training we do generally is for practitioners in our local boroughs, but now that can be spread to anywhere.
Yeah, I was thinking that you're training. Yeah, anyone can access it.
And collaborating with other practitioners and doing joint training sessions. And realizing that we do, like Ayse said, we need some time off timetable, if that makes sense. Otherwise, we're going through each day just existing rather than forward planning.
I'm glad this is being recorded, because now this is my evidence. Right, I've got at least a few people watching, so that's my evidence. Because what I do want is Mondays and Tuesdays, Joe and I to be off timetable, and we're very, very lucky because we have such a fantastic team. Really, really, really lucky, like really lucky. Mondays and Tuesdays, Joe and I are off timetable, dedicating that to consultancy, training, schools, moving forward, building the charity, networking. If we drop all the networking that we've built up in the last few months, then what was the point? Because I almost feel like I lose part of myself. It's just, it's addictive to speak to people like you, Tara, And it's not about work. It's just having those really lovely conversations to bring me back on track.
I think it's been a lot easier due to lockdown, because a lot of practitioners will obviously be working from home like we are. It's going to be a shame to lose that when life goes back to normal. So we want to try and keep that going.
So keeping that going and having that time to, Monday to Friday off to kind of work on all of that, and having more family sessions on Zoom, and what difference is this going to make to the service moving forward? I
think we'll be far more sustainable. I think with every charity, that's something that's always a concern. So investing in that time will hopefully support us in building that part of the business. Because, we are a charity, but a charity has to run like a business. We need money coming in. So if we dedicate 2 days a week to that, the parents will benefit, because at the end of the day, we won't have to then close the doors. And we wouldn't be moaning at them as much, I think, so they'd probably appreciate that. Yeah. They do love it, really. But I think it's about filtering. The more Joe and I learn, the more we can filter down, the more we can get our team on board, the more we can have innovative projects, innovative charity projects coming on, private projects, anything. But we just have to have that time to do that. So we are going 2 days a week are definitely dedicated to that. And plus, if we go on Tara to study more,
we
need that time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you, there's lots that I want to say about how much having this opportunity to talk to you both is a real privilege and a real joy. And I do feel like you're being gifted into my life personally and professionally. So, but I wanted to ask you if there was any other question that would be useful to ask.
How very SFL. How very SFL.
And that sorry, Tara. That's something I've noticed about Ayse's recordings, is she's asking that question a lot more. Is there any questions, or is there something we haven't discussed?
Are you complimenting me?
I think that was a compliment.
Something that I've noticed. No,
Are you in pain right now?
it's been. Thank you for doing this. But, like I say, you don't often get a chance to sit down and think about what you've asked us, the questions that you've asked us, because we've always been so busy.
So what have you noticed about yourselves today in this conversation that we've had that's useful to notice, that has pleased you?
I'm very lucky. Honestly, I feel really lucky. I really do feel lucky. Well, not about a job, but
No.
I genuinely feel really lucky to be part of the charity. I feel really lucky to have the families that come to us, because they're all wonderful, wonderful, wonderful families. I love them all to bits. I feel lucky to have such an amazing team who work tirelessly and dedicate all the hours to helping, moving the charity forward and supporting the parent. I feel lucky to have known you and got to know you and so many other SF practitioners. I actually genuinely feel really, really lucky. I never thought that we would be in this position a few years ago. And I think it's just amazing. And I think I'm cherishing every moment of it, and I'm enjoying every moment of it.
Yes.
Go on, Joe, give a list of why you love me. Go.
It's yeah. Well, it's that old thing, isn't it? It's not a job. It's something that you look forward to doing. And if you can do it well, and you're given the time to do it well, everyone benefits, not just us, but our colleagues, our volunteers, our service users, it's almost like it's almost like that energy's come back. You feel more energized now. Like I said, when we got that first little bit of money, we never knew it would get to where it is in that short space of time. From not knowing anything about a charity, how to start up a charity, never written a bid in our lives, but we've never employed a bid writer. We've just written what we know and from the heart, and it's served as well. We'll keep doing that, I reckon.
Oh, I love that, from the heart. Yes.
Well, Joe writes from the heart, and then I edit. Because if it's 500, if you're only allowed 500 words, Joe will write about 800, 900 to 1,000 from the heart, and then I will come in, read the actual question, and then answer it with his words by editing.
So yes, I'm just thinking of that thing that you said at the beginning, that focusing on each other's strengths.
Yes. Thank you, Tara.
No, that is Joe's. Joe is fantastic he's brilliant. I'm just very good at editing it.
Yeah, works.
Yeah, and sometimes I see a bit of a question and go into one and realise I've actually answered the question.
And he doesn't.
It needs to be looked over.
Generally speaking, he's answered about 4 questions.
So working collaboratively and co-constructing.
That's one thing Joe and I struggle with anyway. Is Joe is my partner in crime. And because we know each other so well, we know how we operate. It's very difficult not to do any work without Joe there, really.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm going to cry.
Oh, I love
no, not really. Do you feel the same, Joe? Do you feel the same?
Come on, Joe.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. She's asking, she's fishing for compliments, Tara.
It's because I never get it. I never get it.
Come on, Joe. Just one.
Every time he does compliment me, I'm telling you guys this, if he does compliment me, I put it on the calendar and I put an annual reminder.
I've always said I can't see me doing this with anybody else. So how much more of a compliment do you need?
All right, okay. I think all right. That's a nice one.
Good. I'm glad.
Well, that seems a beautiful place to end our conversation today.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
It's been such a pleasure and yeah, a real honour. So thank you. And yeah, you guys mean a lot to me.
No, likewise, you've been, you, Naomi, quite a few people have been a big part of our lives, and you know, we hope it stays that way. And you guys are absolutely amazing. But Tara, you really rocked it with the Zoom training. You really delivered it.
You were very
honestly.
We look forward when we can actually meet in person.
I know. Yes. Yeah. I'm coming to London.
I'm beginning to think you're only shoulders and a head.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a question, Tara?
Yes.
Have you ever just worn like pajama bottoms underneath when you've been having those discussions?
No, never.
Tara's a professional.
Very professional. What about you? Have you?
No, because I'm in the office, but had I been at home, yes.
Would have, yeah.
Yeah. For anyone watching, if I've been part of, you know, joined your networking event or anything, I am usually wearing my pajamas.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Just so they know. But yeah, thank you so much, Tara. That was absolutely amazing, and we love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Okay. Who do we have on tomorrow, Joe?
Arnold Hybers. Oh, I don't know if I've said that right. Have I said that right, Tara?
Arnold. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So
fantastic. Yeah, he's fantastic. We love him. I don't think there's an SF practitioner we don't love that we've met. But yeah, tomorrow 4 o'clock. That'll be really cool. Grab a cup of tea or a coffee or a glass of wine, and join us tomorrow. Tara, you wait around, and everyone else, I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.